Welcome to my channel. Why is Vortex Maths not accepted by most people as mathematics? Well, when you try to apply it to other bases, like base 2 for example, it doesn't work. But here's the thing, and I'm going to say it. The universe is not in base 2, it's in base 10. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, well, it doesn't work with binary, it's not mathematics. But here's the thing. It is as fascinating as the universe itself, which we hardly understand. I present a geometric numerical model. This is a geometric numerical model of two interlocking tetrahedrons. The 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 vortex sequence is encoded in the vertex symmetries of this shape, as are the 3, 6, 9 axis, and many other sacred geometric ratios. This model is derived from the tetrahedral geometry aligned as in the Star of David, and it reveals how these shapes resonate with the quantum field dynamics of our universe. By aligning Nikola Tesla's theories of energy and frequency with the physical properties of these 3D harmonic oscillators, we can begin to understand how they interact with scalar fields, electromagnetic resonance, and even the Earth's natural human frequencies. This is a bridge between speculative physics and vortex-based mathematics, and my hope is that this framework will offer testable hypotheses for energy transduction in both ancient pyramid structures and modern systems as well. So let's start off by looking at the basic geometry.
A tetrahedron is a triangular pyramid, a regular polygon made up of 4 sides, 4 vertices, and 6 edges. It is a very stable configuration and geometry. It is the simplest regular polygon. I've got here a model of a tetrahedral geometry, which is made up of 2 tetrahedrons, purple one and the blue one. The base of the purple one, we've got a red, a green, a light green base. The base of the blue one has got a green, a red, and a green. If you notice, the geometry is very symmetrical in all sides. From the top of the plan, it looks like a rhomboid geometry. If you look from the side, again, you get rhomboid geometry. From whichever side you go to, you got, again, rhomboid geometry. Very stable. What's interesting with these 2 tetrahedrons is that the blue one is rotated 180 with a base up here, and the purple one is rotated again 180 with the base up here. Now, when you rotate these tetrahedrons and join up the adjacent opposites, vertices of the bases, you literally come up with square pyramids. And in this orientation, the square pyramid has got a dark green base with this apex here, and mirror to it, another square pyramid with the same base and with its 4 edges. Now, if you look in this direction and concentrate on the red base, again, you will see that it mirrors 2 pyramids. And if you concentrate on the light green base, you see that it constitutes 2 mirrored pyramids with this as its base. So in this configuration, we have 2 tetrahedrons, one rotated to 180 degrees. And if we join up the vertices of the bases to the adjacent opposites, we actually constitute 3 bases, a green one, a light green one, and a red one, which constitutes mirrored square pyramids. So what we're saying here is that between the 2 tetrahedrons, we have formulated 3 different orientations of mirrored square, one with this dark green square base, one with this light green square base, and the last one with this dark green square base. So we essentially taking 2, 4, 6 square-based pyramids within the center of these 2 tetrahedrons. Now, what I found out is that after researching a bit about Tesla and his obsession with 3, 6, and 9, and also learning about the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, which you get by doubling numbers, 1 times 2, 2 times 2, 4 times 2, 8, 8 times 2, 16, and you reduce the 16 to 1 to 7, 1 plus 6. And 16 times 2, 32, and you reduce the 32 to 3 plus 2, which is 5, which is Vortex Maths. Now, when I learned about this, I tried to figure out the geometrical representation of this sequence and the potence of 3, 6, and 9. I've seen some vortex diagrams and they purport that this is a two-dimensional flow of energy, but I postulate that this is all based on tetrahedral geometry. Now, if I were to assign numbers to my geometry here, starting off with maybe here, call this 1, then that becomes 2, right? According to the sequence, that becomes 3, and that's a 4. So 1, 2, 4, and 3 is here. But 3, remember, is not in the sequence. We just have 1, 2, 4. And then it jumps up to 8, 7, 5. Now, if you assign the other tetrahedron 8, 7, 6 should be this one, and 5. So this becomes 8, 7, 5. So our sequence becomes 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And you notice 3 and 6 are out of it. Very interesting, I thought. Now, if we have solved the geometry of 3, 6, and 9, this being a 3, this being a 6, and the vortex sequence being 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5, where is the 9? Now, I figured out that when you have 1, 2, 4, 1, and this is 8, 1 plus 8 is actually 9. If this is a 2, and this is an 8, and that's a 7, 2 plus 7 is equal to 9. And again, if that is a 4, and if this is 8, 7, 5, then 4 plus 5 is equal to 9. So this geometry more or less accounts for the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. So 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 with 3 here and 6. We derive the 3 and the 6 from the fact that if this is 1, this is 2, this could be 3, and that could be 4. And if this is 8 and this is 7, this must be 6, and that will be a 5. And the 9 is all over. When you add the two opposing numbers, you get a 9. Now, assuming that this rotates, this tetrahedron rotates on that one, that means if it flips another 180 or 90 degrees, the numbers change. And that means you, at the center here, you will have a different value. As it flips, you get a different value. But when you add the totals of all those values of the opposing numbers, it will come back and reduce to 9. Very interesting.
And here's another really interesting thing I noticed. When you plot 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 on the y-axis of a graph against time on the x-axis, you get something that looks like a sine wave. This gets better with a spline tool.
So what we have is a linear axis of 3 and 6. The apices of the tetrahedrons with 9 in the center all over, and that kind of produces an axis. Now, interestingly, when you look at the axis from the side, you come up with a geometrical shape which is hexagonal, and you get the same looking from the other side. This model suggests that Nikola Tesla might have been right, and as he said, if only we knew the significance of 3, 6, and 9, then we might have a key to the universe. Now, this model postulates, and I also hypothesize that this is the 3, 6, 9 geometry, with 3 as the apex of one tetrahedron and 6 as the apex of the other tetrahedron, with 3 mirrored squares in between constituting the 9. Along an axis, 3 here to 6. My model is a hypothesis of the geometry of 3, 6, 9 with the background knowledge of the sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5. And I postulate that there is an axis between 3, 6 joining 9, but it's also possible that Besides rotation along the 3, 6 axis, there may be rotation through the 9, through the square pyramids, in a 3-dimensional way, flipping 3 and 6. This lays groundwork for further tests and opens up minds for many others who are interested in this. But first we need to test and see statically and dynamically whether we have any field force in this area. Interestingly, I've also figured out that this may be just a 2-dimension in course, 2-dimension, just part of the whole complex issue. Now, this is the basic geometry. But if you look at these 2 tetrahedrons, this one and that one, and concentrate on the squares in between, you will realize that this tetrahedron is sitting opposite that one on this square pyramid. So if you look at these 2, use the green base, this square pyramid mirrored to that square pyramid. Yeah, that's a better picture. And the tetrahedrons are sitting on the opposite sides. That opened up for a further look into what's happening to the other squares. Should we not have similar tetrahedrons sitting on the opposite sides? So we're talking of the green mirrored squares. What about the red mirrored squares? Shouldn't there be a tetrahedron sitting here and another one sitting at the other end? And then when you look at the light green squares, shouldn't there be a tetrahedron sitting there and another one sitting here? And the answer is there is. Let me move on to that. I've constructed it. What we see here, if you use the pink as 1 dimension, so this pink tetrahedron and this pink tetrahedron opposite each other within the square configurations, that could be 1 dimension. 1 dimension of the whole 3, 6, 9, and 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 sequence. Now, if you look at this tetrahedron, opposite this tetrahedron, sitting on this blue-based pyramid with that tetrahedron sitting, and that one, red one, again, opposite. Now again, if you come and focus on the blue-based pyramids, you have 1 tetrahedron sitting there, and right opposite it, another tetrahedron in the same color. So what this produces is a complex geometry.
These are 2 pyramids sitting one above the other. The whole thing is the octahedron. The spaces in between are exactly where the tetrahedrons would be if they were here. The 2 small tetrahedrons sit on the opposite sides of the square pyramids. The square pyramids, sitting on each other, form the octahedron. The large interlocking tetrahedrons are formed by 3 pairs of small tetrahedrons, sitting on opposite sides of the octahedron. The large interlocking pyramids are the Star of David, or the Merkaba. The Merkaba is believed to be sacred geometry. It is a 3-dimensional star tetrahedron formed by 2 interlocking tetrahedrons. The numerical values of 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 can be allocated to the big interlocking tetrahedrons, with 3 and 6 at the apices. I also showed how the geometry can be produced by non-interlocking tetrahedrons. This is the basis of dualism, geometry within geometry. Whether one is a cause and the other an effect, or vice versa, or coexistent, is mysticism. Now we have a new video showing how we can assign polarity through 3, 6, and 9 to geometry. We are now echoing Plato's sacred geometry through his concept of Platonic solids and his belief that geometry is fundamental to understanding the universe. And indeed, Vortex Maths, as shown, may be the bridging connection between Tesla's 3, 6, and 9 universe key and Plato's geometry of the universe. But what about the mirrored square pyramids? The 9, can we now link them to the Great Pyramids of Giza?
The ancient pyramids of Giza may have been designed to harness Earth's energy using a natural phenomenon, perhaps using Vortex Mathematics. This is the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 sequence derived by digital root doubling, which conveniently avoids the numbers 3, 6, and 9. Why is this significant? Well, 3, 6, and 9 are the numbers associated with phase transitions, such as those that occur in Tesla's so-called etheric realm. By avoiding these numbers, the 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 sequence may represent a material world oscillator, an engine that drives expansion and contraction, order and chaos, electromagnetism and gravity. The repeating 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 sequence may be viewed as a repetition of 512 and 487, as in 512, 487, 512, 487, 512, 487, and so on. The 512, which is 2 to the 9th power, and 8 to the power of 3, as well as being 8 times 2 to the power of 6, 8 in itself being 2 to the power of 3. Coincidence? Or perhaps 3, 6, and 9 are the powers of the universe.
And here is more. The number 512 is one of the 6 Dudini numbers in base 10. A Dudini number is a number that when you add up its digits, the sum of those digits cubed or powered by 3 gives back the original number. In the case of 512, 5 plus 1 plus 2 equals 8. 8 cubed is 512. But there's more. The number 512 is derived by powering the binary 2 by 9, 8 by 3, and 8 times 2 by 6. The symbolic sequence 512, 487, 512, 487 is special. 487 is a prime number, so it represents singularity, and 512 represents multipotentiality and infinitism. The symbolic sequence, as I would want to call it now, gives the concept of the binary pulse, the eternal, beat between one and all, where the prime meets the infinite.
5 and 12 resonates with the frequency of Earth's natural modes, such as 512 Hz in Pythagorean tuning, or 512 bytes in a computer. This suggests that the tetrahedral geometry of the pyramids could have acted as a resonant cavity to amplify and transmit electromagnetic energy. But what about the actual pyramids? Well, as demonstrated earlier, the square pyramids are inside the tetrahedrons and thus are duals of the tetrahedrons. And just like the tetrahedrons, the pyramids can also act as a Helmholtz resonator, which can be tuned to amplify specific frequencies. The Star of David, mostly visualized as 2-dimensional, is actually 3-dimensional and represents the Merkaba. I now present a new numerical vectorization theory, which will use a new concept, Decadic Phasing, to help us explain Vortex Maths. First of all, we must see beyond base 10 arithmetic. Base 10 doesn't just increase numbers, it repeats a cycle of 1 to 9 over and over. Each cycle is not just larger, it's a new phase, like a harmonic, octave, or energy tier. 10, 20, 30, etc. are not just increments. They are phases 1, 2, 3, and so on, new energetic layers or time frames, each with states 1 to 9, best viewed as decades. Each decade is not a linear increase, but a phase shift. It's akin to musical octaves, A4, A5, A6, all A notes but different frequencies. The repeating 1 to 9 pattern is like a fundamental waveform, cyclicking through amplitude layers. Vortex Math is specific to base 10, but so is most of classical arithmetic. It becomes a language of symbolic structure rather than rigid arithmetic. In Vortex Maths, you're working with patterns, not formulas. When I plot phases 1, 2, 3, 4 on the y-axis against a cyclical number 0 to 9, the first 10 numbers can be viewed as the 0 level, the next one's 1.2, and so on. The stepped graph could represent a visual of the phases. When you combine the step number and the number on the x-axis, you get the actual number. That is, the actual number is formed by combining a phase level and a digit state, or energy. Alternatively, this can be produced by a formula. Real number equals to 10 times phase level plus digit. I call this relationship Decadic Phasing. This concept, which I have named Decadic Phasing, visualizes numbers as a combination of phase, energy level, plus vibration, digit. Each phase represents an energy tier, like musical octaves or light harmonics. Each digit is the resonant expression at that tier, and so 21, for instance, equals phase 2, digit 1, different from 1, because it asks a higher tier expression of the same base pattern. So numbers aren't just linear. They are structured echoes in quantized levels. Here, I am demonstrating that numerical value equals positional energy, phase, plus symbolic identity, digit. This mirrors vortex math, music theory, and even certain cosmological models. This is not just counting numbers. It's modeling position in an energetic system, like time steps, quantum states, or dimensional echoes. This is Decadic Phasing. Then Vortex Math steps in and says, Let S simplify this actual number, phase plus energy, by adding its digits, not to calculate it but to extract its vibrational identity. The function of Vortex Math and Decadic Phasing is to reduce his numbers to a stable identity, between 1 to 9, so that identity transcends scale, 18, 1 plus 8, 9, 27, 2 plus 7, 9, etc., and allows comparison of energy states across phases. So instead of comparing 18 versus 27 versus 108, we say, these are all manifestations of 9, in different energetic layers. And that's why Vortex Math can be considered a form of numerical vectorization. It gives some weighting to numbers like a vector. Speed in itself does not have as much information as velocity because speed has no direction, velocity does. Numerical vectorization in Vortex Maths interprets numbers as directional flows in energy or time-space. Your number is not just value, it's where it is coming from and what it represents. This is digit compression function with a mapping function, from large numbers to 1 to 9. It preserves the core essence, like a hash or signature. It acts like a harmonic reducer, collapsing energy into vibrational roots, and compares disparate scales by reducing to shared harmonic states. It acts like a scalar identity mapper, mapping phase-based numbers into a scalar identity, and allows comparison of nonlinear energy expressions. Finally, it acts like a resonance filter. You input a number, it outputs its resonance identity. Think of it like distilling a chord into its root note. I am proposing that Vortex Math is not random nor mystical. It's a scalar harmonizer that enables multi-phase number comparison by reducing each to its energetic core. Numerical vectorization and decadic phasing is a new way to interpret number theory using phase logic, plus energetic reduction. By understanding this, we can better navigate our reality because ultimately we are navigating energy and time. Vortex Maths helps us encode, decode, and traverse these informational landscapes. Finally, let's put everything together by linking energy. Vortex Maths, Merkaba and Nikola Tesla's 3, 6, and 9. The symbolic sequence 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 has sinusoidal behavior. When you plot 1, 2, 4, 8, 7, 5 on the y-axis against units of time on the x-axis, you get a wave pattern. The values rise from 1, 2, 4, then fall through 8, 7, 5, creating a clear wave cycle. This repeating pattern shows that the sequence oscillates, like a symbolic sine wave, though built from digit dynamics instead of angles. It's a powerful visual for showing that numeric sequences can encode energy cycles, like motion, vibration, or resonance. The wave pattern can be improved by plotting using a spline tool from Fusion 360 software. Separate graphs can be plotted for 1, 2, 4, and 8, 7, 5. These show similar waveforms on their own. Assuming the model of tetrahedron bases on the Merkaba being 1, 2, 4, and 8, 7, 5, rotating in opposite directions, there are clear wave patterns. Both sequences are equal and opposite, creating a waveform entanglement. The opposing phases sync rhythmically, just like the rotating tetrahedrons in a Merkaba. The result is not just two waves, it's a harmonic duality. The geometry of energy, rotational geometry of the Merkaba. The Merkaba, two interlocked tetrahedrons, spins in opposite directions. Each point, like 1, 2, 4, and 8, 7, 5, traces a rotational path. A 60-degree angular displacement between corresponding vertices is geometrically sound because a tetrahedron has threefold rotational symmetry, 120 degrees between major axes. But if you're tracking alternating points, then 60 degrees becomes a logical phase offset to compare one half of the spin cycle with the other. The two symbolic waveforms are now closely tracking, not opposing. They go in and out of resonance, simulating field synchronization during rotation. This offset beautifully captures the time lag between orientations in a rotating Merkaba. Symbolic sequence and wave pattern. Vortex Math reveals hidden numerical pattern which align with energetic flows. When viewed as numerical vectorization, these identities become directional movements through phases, much like the opposing rotations of the Merkaba. Tesla's sacred 369 can be seen as anchor points within this system, harmonics that govern transformation and resonance. Thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. I hope you found my video insightful. And if you did, please don't forget to subscribe and like the video. Thank you once again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.